Irish guy, and this is a bit sad, isn't it? Well, no, not for me. No, I mean, to me, the failures of Steven Gerrard impact on my life the same way as if a turtle scratches his crotch. Yeah, I don't really care. But for Liverpool fans, to see this tactical mess at Villa Park, watching the prodigal son, Steven Gerrard, the heir to the Anfield throne, seeing him now living in some rundown Birmingham flat and terrified of the sack, it's all a bit sad. Honestly, right now, Gerrard is probably a paranoid child. I mean, he's probably cut his telephone wires, shut down the curtains and hibernating under the bed, so terrified of hearing that he's lost his Villa job. Honestly, he doesn't want to get a letter confirming his sack. I mean, if the postman dares to knock on his door, Gerrard will probably threaten to headbutt him in the nose. I mean, if DJs aren't off limits. But yeah, poor Liverpool fans. How anticlimactic. This guy was the heir to the throne at the cop. So it's a bit like in Game of Thrones, seeing Sean Bean's head on a stick. I mean, this is a bit like in Scooby-Doo, when they uncover someone who's been messaging 12-year-olds on Twitter, and then they take off his mask, and guess what? Turns out that no, it's not a ghost. It's your Uncle Pete. Yeah, the secret's out. Your uncle's now off to jail. And now, lads, Gerrard has been exposed for being a managerial myth. Honestly, this guy, he's like the Loch Ness Monster, which is fitting because he also came from Scotland. Oh, by the way, lads, if you agree, if you think that Gerrard is a wet pudding of a manager, then slap the big fat red subscribe button, you absolute legends. Go on, I'll give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Legends. Back into the video. I mean, people down the pub would have told you in 2015.
I reckon Stevie G will make a world-class coach. He'll manage England one day. What a geezer.
Yeah, and then, to make matters worse, he goes and pulls off a miracle job at Rangers. I mean, to be fair, I think seeing Gerrard at Rangers, that was always a bit weird on my eyes. I mean, he's the face of Liverpool, a club who have strong connections to Celtic. So seeing all the Celtic fans delete all their tweets about Stevie G, it was all a bit weird. So I know he was a great success there, but to me, what would have made more sense is if back in 2018, Rangers had convinced Mikel Arteta to leave Man City. I mean, because, he played for the club in 2004. Honestly, Arteta at Rangers, he would have been immense. But yeah, Gerrard was heir to the throne at Liverpool, right? But now, we can all see him for what he is. Just some championship level coach with the managerial ability of cow piss. I mean, how anticlimactic. It's a bit like finding out that Santa Claus is a violent alcoholic who only slides down your chimney just so he can wee on your rug and violate the cat. Lads, as a manager, Gerrard is a myth. I mean, remember when he first got the Aston Villa job and people were bending over backwards to pretend that despite only ever coaching in Scotland, still, he was a budding world-class coach.
Can we just take a moment to remember that Gerrard's Rangers went an entire season without losing? Any manager capable of doing that in any league is noteworthy.
The guy who wrote this comment, prepare to fall on your own sword. Again, a bit like Sean Bean in every role he's ever played. But yeah, this comment. Tell that to Everton fans. I mean, Jose Mourinho might have won Porto the Champions League, but Vitor Pereira turned them into the Invincibles, completely unbeaten during the 12-13 season. Well, in January, he was offered an interview at Goodison Park, and Everton fans reacted to this news as if their mum had just told them that instead of going to Pizza Hut for dinner, the whole family was just going to queue up to drink their granny's breast milk. Yeah, no thanks. Going unbeaten in Scotland is still a good achievement, but really, come on. All he really had to do was just avoid losing to Celtic, a Celtic team who had Neil Lennon in charge for the first half, and then John Kennedy, the work experience kid with the authority of an elf. Going unbeaten in your previous job means nothing, I promise. I mean, the two favourites for the Premier League sack right now are Gerrard and Brendan Rodgers. Both men who, had unbeaten invincible seasons in Scotland. And that's Sergei Rebrov went unbeaten with Dynamo Kiev in the 14-15 season. And in English football, he'd be lucky to get a job at Hull. Honestly, in football, he's got the respect and clout of a bucket of gone-off chicken wings. This guy thinks that any manager who goes unbeaten in any league is noteworthy. Andre Villas-Boas was a golden invincible with Porto too. Decent coach, yes. Better than Gerrard, yes. But still, to Premier League audiences, he is about as attractive as toast buttered with poo. I mean, Tamori Kitsbaya went unbeaten in Cyprus with Ornithosis Famagusta in 2007, and then spent the next 10 years begging to work for Mike Ashley at Newcastle. Honestly, such was his desperation for the gig, he'd have probably agreed to work for free, probably even have agreed to just live in Ashley's ensuite toilet. Yeah! he was overlooked for John Carver. See, invincible coaches mean nothing. I mean, Arsene Wenger's been single for 3 years, and he was only ever offered the job at Fulham. I mean, Stephen Bradley recently went unbeaten with Shamrock Rovers, but offer this Arsenal reject to even any League One clubs as a manager, and those same chairmen would honestly look at him as if they're out on a date with someone who just keeps sneezing poo up their nose. I mean, Nevio Scala was a distinguished Italian coach who once went unbeaten with Shakhtar Donetsk in 2001. I mean, did he instantly gain respect from Europe's elite clubs? No, you're soon getting offered a job at Motherwell. I mean, come on! So come on, what else have you got? Gerrard going unbeaten, it's a nice little feat, but it means nothing. And especially when they went unbeaten in a league season where there were no fans in the grounds. I mean, lads, Neil Lennon was nearly an invincible at Celtic during the 13-14 season. You know, we had Virgil van Dijk at the back, and he only lost 1 game, and unlike Gerrard, had recently masterminded a Champions League win over Barcelona. I mean, did he get noticed by a Premier League giant like Aston Villa? No, he got a scruffy job at Bolton, bottom of the Championship. And do you know why? Because he's not a sexy name. He was just the naughty answer to Scott Brown, some grubby little Scottish Premier League troll. Someone who looks like if Ron Weasley let himself go. Ozzy, nobody in the Premier League was going to appoint a former Crewe Alexandra midfielder who looks like he should be working at the Ministry of Magic. He is an unfashionable, snarling little dwarf of the Hobbit. Someone who looks like if Ed Sheeran lived in McDonald's for a year. And that's why he's having to beg for jobs in Cyprus. I mean, Gerrard did not get the Aston Villa job for his work in Scotland. No, he got it because of his connections. It's Stevie G, Brand Gerrard. That's it. I mean, at least in the case of Frank Lampard, another man who got a managerial shortcut because of his name, and he's fine. He still had a solid 18 months of managing Chelsea before Everton gave him the gig. But Gerrard, it's just 3 years of Rangers. I mean, lads, Alex McLeish had 5 years as Rangers manager, and he won 2 league titles, 2 Scottish Cups, 3 Scottish League Cups, and he was 1 goal away from taking Rangers into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Well, when he eventually wound up at Villa Park, honestly, the football was about as much fun to watch as seeing 2 gerbils bite off each other's face. And surprise, surprise, McLeish left Villa 16th in the Premier League. That is currently occupied by Gerrard. So here's a lesson learned, Villa. Stop appointing the former managers of Rangers. It does not suit your club. Aston Villa does not mesh well with ex-Rangers. I mean, right now, they scored 7 goals in 9 games. That's McLeish ball.
Oh, Irish guy, but Gerrard nearly beat Man City in the final day of last season. He nearly ruined their title race. Surely he's a good coach.
Really? Well, 10 years ago, Mark Hughes did the exact same thing. He also gave Man City a mammoth scare on the final day of the title race. But does that mean he did a good job at QPR? No, he never won another game. He was then sacked in November after no wins in 12. That spirit and fight that Villa showed at the Etihad in May, that means nothing. Absolutely nothing. I just can't get over how these managers are protected by their image. The narrative at the time seemed to be that Aston Villa were lucky that Gerrard chose them. Are you for real? Can you imagine if this wasn't Gerrard in the dugout? And instead, Steve Bruce overseeing these results and this style of football? Oh, I promise you, forget cabbages. The Villa fans would be chucking condoms filled with snot at his car. He'd probably have angry Villa fans throwing water balloons at him on the bus. Actually, who are we kidding? After all these multi-million-pound payoffs for being sacked, I'm pretty sure he hasn't rode the bus since 2003. But Steven Gerrard is the worst manager in the Premier League. Tell me I'm wrong. Go on. I'm all ears. Being a world-class footballer, it means nothing. And I know I keep saying those 3 words in this video, it means nothing, which is probably Ryan Giggs' catchphrase if any of his girlfriends read through his texts. But I mean, world-class footballing ability rarely transfers into coaching. Only one world-class footballer grew up to win the Premier League as a manager, and that was Kenny Dalglish. Ironically, from Scotland, who nearly 30 years ago as a coach of Blackburn. I mean, to be fair, Carlo Ancelotti was admittedly a very good player back in the 80s, but I mean, less than 30 caps for Italy. Was he really world class? But look around you, Gerrard. How many other current managers in the Premier League can you find who are also world class players? 1. Patrick Vieira. That's it. I promise you that is it. And to me, Gerrard, he doesn't belong in this league. He is championship level. By all rights, this guy should currently be in the running for the job at West Brom. In the same way Michael Carrick is trying to get an interview at Middlesbrough. But Gerrard, you are never getting the Liverpool job. I don't care if it is your dream. I'm sure Brian Robson wanted to manage Man United. And when it turns out that despite being an absolute lion of a title-winning captain, and England's superstar with close to 100 caps, despite having all the ingredients to be a world-class manager, well, he grew up to just get sacked by Sheffield United and then managed the Thailand under-23s. I mean, both Tony Adams and Roy Keane, like Gerrard, look like future world-class managers, but they weren't. And Villa, they're just gonna sack Gerrard now after a year and probably give the job to Roberto Martinez after Christmas. I mean, they were begging him 10 years ago to join after they dumped McLeish. Gerrard, there is only one job left for you. Go manage England. I mean, clearly an ego like his does not want to have to spend the next 10 years managing the likes of Hull and Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, some top players, yeah, they can't leave their egos at the door like Steve Bruce. Yes, he was a successful Manchester United captain, but I mean, he made a career out of managing the likes of Wigan and Hull. But I mean, look at him. Clearly he let his ego and image slide out the window in 2001. And it probably helped that he threw his gym membership in the bin to instead spend the next years probably hiding muffins under his pillow and devouring cake in the bath. But Stevie won't do that. I mean, he's had the same haircut since he was 8. I don't think he'll go down the leagues like a Paul Ince. No, I think he's got one job left in him, and it's England. I mean, he's a bit like Zinedine Zidane, an absolute world-class icon of a footballer, but he's not in this for the long haul. He doesn't really want to get his hands dirty. If anything, I think Zidane is still a bit of a myth. Yeah, he won 3 Champions Leagues in a row with Real Madrid. The reason he's not jumped back into management is because he knows he'll get found out. A bit like how KSI probably wants to retire with a perfect boxing record. You know, just get out while you can. I'm sure if Zidane had jumped back in and taken the job quickly, then he would have either lost his job at PSG last season or right now be edging towards the Juventus sack. I reckon he's only got one job left in him, and it's France. That's it. His bucket list is very simple. Succeed with Real Madrid and France. He does not want to be dragging his wife across the world. He doesn't want to, in 10 years' time, be getting sacked by Marseille or having to interview at Tottenham or being told to learn Japanese. And similarly, Gerrard, you are getting sacked at Villa. I mean, you've lost 17 of your last 27 matches in charge. It is a win percentage of 35.1%. But back to Gerrard, and yes, it's mental. Here I am saying that he's the worst Premier League manager alive, and simultaneously, in the same breath, I'm saying he should manage his country. Weird, right? A bit like me suggesting that James Corden should be king. But as much as the FA might like to pretend that it is, the England job is not a coveted role. Lads, I'm fairly certain with the way things are going, then Gareth Southgate's successor is Scott Parker. The guy who just lost 9-0. But the FA have realised nobody big wants the job. Over the past 20 years, they've tried to offer fat money to managerial greats like Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, Jose Mourinho, Gus Hiddink, Phil Scolari. Only one was convinced to take the job. Fabio Capello. And everyone just hated him. That's even Ralph Rangnick was turning down the job. So why do you think in 2016 they were having to choose between the managers of Sunderland and Hull? It's going to be an English coach. I honestly believe it'll be a squeaky clean choir boy like Parker. Someone who was once an England captain too, so he ticks that box. So that's why, even when he gets sacked at Villa, I think Gerrard will walk into the England job if he wants it. The FA just cares about image. That's all. No experience required. Gerrard is going to manage England, and he'll probably do a semi-decent job. Fine, you can salvage your career, Stevie. Go and win England the World Cup. You don't need to be a tactical genius. You just sort of need to be a second captain. I mean, you can still become a managerial legend. Just not in day-to-day club football. You don't have the brains for it. But lads, if Gareth Southgate can come within an inch of winning Euro 2020, then there is no reason why Gerrard cannot reach a World Cup final. Absolutely none, but lads, just keep away from the Premier League. Anyways, what do you think, lads? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Where should Gerrard go next? Is he the worst in the league? Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed the video. The next time, as always, I'll talk to you in a while.